A new route to Mount Everest set up for expedition this spring season. The new trail prepared due to unstable snow in the previous route. Second base camp to begin operation. Appointment of Dirga Sodari as Chief Minister of Sudur Paschim in a limbo amid lack of support from UML. Resham Chaudhary faction to file a case against the province governor. Koshi Province Assembly session to be held today. UNRWA chief says Israel's bombardment and a merciless siege have transformed Gaza beyond recognition. Gaza ceasefire talks tumbling. And Real Madrid beats Manchester City 4-3 on penalties to book a spot in the semi-finals. Bayern Munich also in the semis, defeating Arsenal 3-2. The works of building a new route to Mount Everest for mountaineering during this spring season has completed. Works of rope fixing had begun from 14th of March by performing customary rituals. The Department of Tourism has said that it took 36 days to complete it. The rope fixing team has prepared a new trail from near the Lola Peak, which was used by mountaineers before the year 2014. The new trail has been prepared due to unstable snow around the first base camp that can be reached through the previously used climbing route. The second base camp has now been opened as ropes have been set up. 274 permits have been issued so far to scale the highest mountain in the world. Although CPN Unified Socialist had officially decided to put forth Dirga Sodari for the post of Sudur Paschim Chief Minister, they could not stake their claim yesterday after CPN-UML did not lend its support. Sodari was to stake his claim for the post along with the support of 4 provincial assembly members from CPN Unified Socialist, 10 from CPN-UML and Maoist Centre each, 2 from Nagarik Unmukti and 1 independent member. However, CPN-UML did not lend its support to Sodari, citing the party had not made a decision in this regard. CPN-UML Parliamentary Party Leader of Sudur Paschim Provincial Assembly, Rajendra Ral, said that the party will lend its support only after UML Chair Oli issues directives. In the meantime, 5 Provincial Assembly members from the Resham Chaudhary faction of Nagarik Unmukti Party have geared up to file a case against the Sudur Paschim Province Governor's decision. Province Governor Nazir Mia had scrapped the claims filed by 2 candidates, citing both were from the same party. He had once again called on the candidates to stake their claims for the post under Sub-Article 2 of Article 168 of the Constitution of Nepal by 5 p.m. today. Koshi Provincial Assembly session is scheduled to be held today. The session is to be held amid dilemma that persists in the province after CPN-UML and CPN Maoist Centre withdrew their support to Chief Minister Kedar Karki. Chief Minister Kedar Karki claims that he does not need to seek another trust vote for the next 2 years. However, legal experts say that the Chief Minister must seek the vote of confidence within 30 days of withdrawal of support. Koshi Province Assembly session is slated for today, saying that he was appointed the Chief Minister as provisioned by the Article 168, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution of Nepal. Koshi Province Chief Minister Kedar Karki has said that he does not need to seek the vote of confidence again. He said that demanding resignation within 2 years of having secured the vote of confidence was unconstitutional. However, legal experts have contradicted with the Chief Minister's stance. Parties of the ruling alliance have been urging him to clear the dilemma. CPN-UML Province Assembly Parliamentary Party Leader Hikmat Karki has said that the government was in clear minority and therefore required to either generate the vote of confidence or furnish resignation. Kedar Karki of Nepali Congress was appointed the Chief Minister with the support of CPN-UML on 14th of October last year. However, UML and CPN Maoist Centre withdrew their support on 8th of April. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked what was the reason behind the slump in economic activities. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
आर्थिक स्थिति कमजोर छ, मान्छेसँग पैसा छैन, त्यसले गर्दा व्यापार चलेको छैन।
सरकारको नीति कमजोर भएकोले
र व्यापारमा लगानी नभएकोले
बैंकहरूले चाहिँ समयमा पैसा नलगाएको कारणले व्यापारहरू ठप हुँदै गइरहेको छ।
जताकतै मन्दी छाइरहेछ, लगानी छैन, अनि त्यसपछि व्यापार ठप्प छ।
सबै मान्छेहरू विदेशैतिर गइसके, अब घरमा एउटा दुईटा मान्छे हुन्छन्।
संघीय राज्य भयो नि, संघीय राज्य कारणले गर्दा नेपालका बजारहरूमा गाउँको व्यापार, गाउँको काम गाउँमै भइसक्यो। यसकारण नेपालमा बजारमा एकदम व्यापार कम छ, सुनसान छ।
सरकारले एउटा निश्चित एउटा चाहिँ नीति बनाएर युवाहरूलाई हैन नेपालमै रहने एउटा अवस्था सिर्जना गरेको खण्डमा व्यापारहरू चाहिँ बढ्न सक्छ। अन्यथा यो क्रम चाहिँ अझै बढ्दै जानेवाला छ।
अहिले मान्छेसँग पैसै छैन। अब पैसा किन छैन भन्दा जग्गा जमिन बेचबिखन राखेन। नेपालमा भएको अलिअलि पैसा पनि सबै शिक्षाको लागि भने स्वास्थ्यको लागि भने सबै गएर बाहिर थुप्रिया।
मान्छेसँग पैसा नै सायद नभएर नै होला।
नेपालीहरू तपाईँको श्रम रोजगारमा पनि विदेश, स्टुडेन्ट भिसामा पढ्नको लागि पनि अब विद्यार्थीहरू सबै विदेशमा, त्यो भएको कारणले
व्यवसाय गरेर खाने मान्छेलाई चाहिँ ब्याङ्किङ ब्याज दर बढ्नुको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि व्यवसायमा अलिकति शिथिलता आयो।
मान्छेसँग पैसै छैन।
लगानी मैत्री चाहिँ सरकारको अभाव भएको कारणले चाहिँ
Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. What do you term the freed Kamaiyas not receiving 10,000 rupees in compensation from the government even after waiting for 23 years? Your options are A, irresponsible state mechanism, B, lack of pressure, and C, irresponsible public representatives. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees UNRWA Chief Philip Lazzarini told the UN Security Council that Israel's bombardment and a merciless siege have transformed Gaza beyond recognition, and dehumanization that is rampant in the war must end. 7 people, including women and children, have been killed in the latest Israeli strike on Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip. Qatar's Prime Minister has said Gaza ceasefire talks are stumbling and that some parties have used the mediation for narrow political interest. The UN Security Council is scheduled to vote tomorrow on a Palestinian request for full UN partnership, a move that the US, Israel's staunchest ally, is expected to block. At least 33,899 Palestinians have been killed and 76,664 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7. The death toll in Israel from Hamas's October 7 attacks stands at 1,139, and dozens of people are still being held captive in Gaza. The Israeli military said that food trucks entered the blockaded Gaza Strip from Ashdod port for the first time since the government approved the opening of the port to aid shipments. Israel's army released video it said showed trucks being loaded with Gaza-bound food aid at Ashdod port, which sits on the Mediterranean coastline between the Palestinian enclave and Tel Aviv. Israeli military issued a statement saying that 8 World Food Programme trucks of flour entered the Gaza Strip from the Ashdod port yesterday, adding that the trucks underwent security checks at the port and were then admitted into Gaza through the Israeli-controlled Karem Shalom crossing. European Union leaders decided to step up sanctions against Iran over the latter's weekend missile and drone attack on Israel. The EU will take further, restrictive measures against Iran, notably in relation to unmanned aerial vehicles and missiles, the European Council said in a statement after the first day of a 2-day summit in Brussels. The EU leaders also urged all parties to exercise the utmost restraint and to refrain from any action that may increase tensions in the region. Iran launched about 350 drones and missiles late Saturday in response to Israel's killing of 7 Iranians, including 2 veteran commanders, in a strike on the consular section of the Iranian embassy in Syria on 1st of April. The EU has a raft of sanctions already in place against Iran, including trade restrictions, travel bans, and asset freezes. More recently, the bloc established a new regime to prohibit the EU export of critical components used to manufacture deadly drones. The Financial Times said Western countries are mulling new sanctions against Iran while pleading for a cooling of tensions to avert a wide war in the Middle East. Thousands of residents in Kisumu and Kirinyaga counties in Kenya were left stranded and homeless after heavy rain swept through their homes, destroying buildings and their farmlands. Aid agencies reported at least 13 people have died, nearly 3,000 households displaced, over 339 livestock killed because of the flooding in the past several days. Kirinyaga resident Bernard Githaiga said that a woman drowned while attempting to cross a flooded bridge yesterday, and residents later found her body near the riverbed. The heavy rains are expected to continue across Kenya, according to the country's meteorological services, who issued a warning last week for residents in low-lying areas to move to higher ground. Residents called on the national government to improve infrastructure to lessen the impacts of flooding caused by increased rainfall. New South Wales police made their first arrest of a man suspected of rioting after an Assyrian bishop was stabbed during a service at his Sydney church, which triggered the affray outside the church. The 19-year-old man was arrested and taken to a police station where he was charged with riot, affray and destroy and damage of property during a public disorder. Separately, a male teenager has been arrested for the attack on Bishop Marmari Emmanuel. The arrest triggered the riot after an angry crowd sought emergency crews demanding that the suspected attacker be handed over to them. Bishop Emmanuel, who has a popular youth following on TikTok and had criticized homosexuality, COVID vaccinations, and Islam in his sermons, was injured in the attack, which has been deemed a terrorist act motivated by suspected religious extremism. Thousands of people in Georgia took to the streets of Tbilisi yesterday evening, protesting against a bill on foreign agents, which critics see as authoritarian and Russian-inspired. More than 5,000 demonstrators amassed outside Georgia's Soviet-built parliament building, heavily guarded by police, demanding the government withdraw the legislation requiring organizations that accept funds from abroad to register as foreign agents or face fines. Georgia's Interior Ministry said in a statement that 14 protesters had been detained for public order violations and one police officer had been treated for injuries. Georgian critics labeled the bill the Russian law, comparing it to legislation used by the Kremlin to crack down on dissent. The ruling Georgian Dream Party, which has faced accusations of authoritarianism and excessive closeness to Russia, says the bill is necessary to promote transparency and combat pseudo-liberal values imposed by foreigners. Canadian and U.S. authorities have said 6 people have been arrested and 3 more are being sought in connection with what they called the largest gold heist in Canadian history, a cargo of over 22 million Canadian dollars in gold and currency. The suspects, including 2 Air Canada employees, forged an air raid bill to steal a cargo arriving from Switzerland of 6,600 gold bars, weighing 400 kilograms and $2.5 million in foreign currency. Speaking exactly 1 year after the heist, which took place at an Air Canada cargo facility at the Toronto Pearson International Airport, Peel Regional Police at the press briefing named the 9 suspects and detailed the 19 charges they face. 5 suspects were arrested in Canada and released on bail pending trial. 1 suspect, originally from Brampton, Ontario, was arrested in Pennsylvania along with firearms and remains in custody in the United States. Canada-wide warrants have been issued for the remaining 3 suspects. Air Canada said it had suspended 1 cargo division employee charged in the theft, while the other, who worked in the same department at the time of the heist, had left the airline before the charges were announced. Investigators from the Peel Regional Police, working with the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, recovered 1 kilogram of gold and about $434,000 in Canadian currency. Police also recovered some 65 firearms that investigators allege were purchased with the proceeds from the theft. And before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. A new route to Mount Everest set up for expedition this spring season. The new trail prepared due to unstable snow in the previous route. Second base camp to begin operation. Appointment of Dirga Sodari as Chief Minister of Sudur Pashchim in a limbo amid lack of support from CPN-UML. Resham Chaudhary faction to file a case against the province governor. Koshi Province Assembly session to be held today. UNRWA chief says Israel's bombardment and a merciless siege have transformed Gaza beyond recognition. Gaza ceasefire talks stumbling. And Real Madrid beats Manchester City 4-3 on penalties to book a spot in the semi-finals. Bayern Munich also in the semis, defeating Arsenal 3-2. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.